Hello again. This is Brian Herbst, and welcome to Brian's Blunders. Just a recap of what Brian's Blunders is all about. Is I look back at my 40-year work career and talk about mistakes that I made that impacted my career, relationship with others, or the company I was working for. And this is episode 16, and the title of it is "Let's Go See the Leaning Tower of Pisa." So this goes back to my Navy days. The ship was on a Mediterranean cruise. I always find it comical to call it a cruise because it was just work. But anyway, so we did go to various ports, and so we ported in La Spezia, Italy. And first night we're out with some other guys, and we drank too much, and as Navy guys tend to do, and we got up the next morning, and I was like, hey, we had agreed to this, is, hey, we go see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So we get up the next morning, and it was kind of a hot day, and a bit of a walk to the train station, maybe 2 miles. And so we're walking, and we get within 50 or 100 yards of the train station. It was right there. And one of the guys, who happened to be my boss, and he was a piece of work, really full of himself. But anyway, so he said, I'm beat. I just want to go back to the ship, maybe get some work done. And one of the other guys says, yeah, I'm kind of behind on some things. I probably should do some work too. And third guy said, man, I'm tired from last night. I probably need to just go back and take a nap, so I'm ready for watch when it comes up. And I was like, come on, guys. We're right here. It's right there. It's an hour train ride. We'll go down, we'll spend, an hour down there, come back, 3.5, 4 hours altogether. Come on. And they just weren't having it. They just didn't budge. And it got a little contentious. And because I wasn't budging either. I was kind of full of myself too, a little bit, as 20-something year olds are at the time. I guess I was 25, 26 at the time. Anyway, it got to the point where my boss said, this is a direct order. You have to go back to the ship. And this is where I made my blunder. I looked at him, I said, noted. Turned around, and I started walking towards the train station. And none of them, tried to stop me, and none of them said anything or decided to come with me. So I got into the train station. Lo and behold, my roommate was there, and another guy. And so I said, hey, can I hook up with you guys? Because they were going to Pisa. But there was 80 seconds there where I didn't have the buddy system, and the buddy system was required on the ship. That was pretty well known for obvious reasons, safety reasons. But even if I wouldn't have run into my roommate, I would have gone, because I wanted to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa, because we weren't going to be in that part of Italy anytime, for the rest of the cruise, and I wanted to see it because I'd heard so much about it. So anyway, so we go off to Pisa. We get there. We even were able to walk up in it, and that at the time, it was leaning quite a bit, and they were doing things to try to mitigate that. But they let us walk all the way up to it. And shortly, it was a month or two later that I heard that they actually stopped that, and I think it was they didn't let anybody up it for about 10 years plus. I think they are starting to let people back up it now, because some of the work that they did to get it to come back ever so slightly worked anyway. So we make our way back to the ship, and when I get on board the ship, I was told, hey, the executive officer, who's basically second in command, is looking for you. Turns out, he was looking for me earlier in the day, and he knew who I was with. And so when they got to the ship, he said, hey, where's Lieutenant Herbst? And they hemmed and hawed, and they tried to cover for me, but ultimately they kind of laid it out. And so I find the XO, and he lays into me, and rightfully so. I violated the rule, right, of the buddy rule. It's like, all right. And so there was a meeting with the XO, another high-ranking officer on the ship, and there was another guy too, I can't remember who. And the XO said, okay, tell us what happened. And I laid it out, unabridged, just, here's what happened, here's why I did it. And the XO says, we got to punish you, right? This can't go unchecked, right? And I was like, I understand, do what you need to do. And so he put me in hack, which is basically I was quarantined to the ship at the next port visit, which happened to be Israel, Haifa, Israel. So we were there for 3 days, and so we get to Israel, and I think the first day I had watch anyway, so it kind of didn't matter. Anyway, so I, do what I need to do on the ship as the engineering duty officer, and then that evening about 8 o'clock for you civilians, I was sitting in the wardroom, which is kind of the place where the officers hang out. It's about 8, so I'm just hanging there. There was something on TV, I can't remember what it was, and the XO comes in, he sits down, and we start chatting. And really, he comes across as a really rough guy, really gruff and tough and all this, and we just start chatting. Hey, where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And back and forth. We're learning a little bit about each other. Turns out he's a really nice and fair guy. And so 45 minutes later, I say, hey, I got to do the rounds again, and he had something to do, of course. Second night, kind of the same thing. I ended up taking duty for one of the other engineers, since I was on the ship anyway, might as well. And kind of a repeat of the first night, I ended up in the wardroom about 2000, and XO comes back in, and we start chatting again. And after a little bit, he says, those other 3 guys kind of did you wrong. It's like, yeah, but it's all on me. I put them in a bad position. Shouldn't have done that. I should have done a better job of convincing them. I should have said, hey, at least, give me, let's go to the train station, see if there's anybody else there I can go with. But, I wasn't being very creative, in my arguments or in kind of my thought process there. And yeah, okay. And so, after a little bit more chatting, he gets up and he goes to walk out, and just before he leaves the wardroom, he said, hey, Herbst, you can go into port tomorrow. Said, you've done your time, you're fine. Okay, great, thanks. So the next day I grab a buddy of mine, and we go into Haifa, and both of us were in pretty serious relationships, and we both knew that we were going to be popping the question to our girlfriends very soon. And turns out at the time, I'm sure if it still is, Haifa was kind of known for the diamonds that you could get there. And so we found a place, and we spent an hour or so there kind of going, getting educated on diamonds and all that fun stuff that you do, and then finally pick something out. And, so that was kind of cool. And, got back to the ship. And so, thanks to the XO, I have a nice little origin story for the diamond in my wife's engagement ring. So, I look back at that fondly. But the whole story was interesting, and I got to see the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I got put in hack. I think I was the only guy put in hack the entire time I was on the ship. I shouldn't be proud of that, but kind of am in a weird sort of way. But anyway, it all worked out at the end of the day. So today I am shaking it up a little bit. I'm in Comfort, Texas. I'm at a winery instead of a beer. It's sort of in tribute to my wife, because I'm wearing a shirt where she went to William & Mary, and she's a big wine drinker. And so I'm at Bending Branch Winery, and I'm drinking their Malbec. Very good. I'm not a huge wine drinker, but it is good. There's another winery in Comfort, if you ever get here, just down the road, called Singing Waters, and quite good as well. So anyway, so that's my story. I'll see you again next week with another episode of Brian's Blunders. Hope you enjoy it. Take care.